Hey guys, welcome back to the Kind of an Expert podcast, the only podcast where the guest picks a topic of every single episode. My name is Corey Tyndall and I am your host. And this week I sat down with New York City comedian Brittany Cardwell to talk about being yourself. We should throw in there, Brittany and I mostly talked about how we're not very good at being ourselves, but honestly, it made for a really fun episode. I think you guys are going to enjoy it, from cringy childhood stuff to still embarrassing ourselves regularly as adults. So very relatable. You're going to have a good time with this episode. Follow her at Brittany Cardwell on Instagram, and check out her podcast, Worthless Clowns, with Allie O'Neill. We talk about one of the clips from the episode at the end of this episode. Definitely go watch that on our Instagram. It is hilarious. Follow me at Corey T Comedy on all social media. And if you're in New York City, come to a comedy show every single week in the East Village at Ferns. It's a really fun show. Brittany's done it a couple times before, different lineup every time. Other than that, let's get into the episode. During the pandemic, I was able to record podcasts like in the park. Oh, yeah. So in one of the episodes, Eli Haba, he did getting arrested. Ooh. He's been arrested like 4 times. One of the times by the FBI. Yeah. It was a very early on episode, but it was in the middle of the pandemic. And so we recorded it at Washington Square Park. And I think 3 or 4 times, like, homeless men would come up and ask us what we were doing.
They were doing that a lot at Mike's too.
Yeah, I
start
know.
Heckling people.
At Mike's, it was like, all right, that's funny because everybody could see it. Like if you just go listen to the recording of the podcast, you're like listening to it and like, what the fuck is happening? It's just this man being angry for no reason. It's like, and now there's that podcast. I don't know if you've seen them on TikTok. They're just called Podcast But Outside. And they set up a table in like the side of the road. Yeah. And then they give people $1 to come on and be a guest
like just
for
a
like
man on
10
the street
minutes.
Pod, pretty much.
It's huge. Their podcast is massive. And I was like, oh, I really fucked that one up. I should have owned it. Yeah. I was like trying to avoid it and make this more professional and pretend like I wasn't outside. I was like, no, I should have just like...
You're like drawing imaginary circles around you and like giving people the eye as they come through. You know, like when you're a kid, I don't know if you had siblings, but when you're a kid and you're in the car on a road trip and you have your line and the whole time you don't enjoy the road trip at all. You're just like making sure your brother doesn't cross the line, and then they're like roasting you so they stick their hands in and out of your line. Did that
you must not have been the oldest.
No, I was the middle.
I was able to go wherever, and I might get screamed at, but they couldn't physically stop me from doing anything. So
wait, were you the oldest?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You got to start everything too.
You'd be surprised. My youngest brother figured out that he could start shit, and then if he started crying, our mom would be on his side no matter what happened. Yeah. It was very very reminiscent of the NBA today. It's just like they immediately he would start shit for no reason. I would look at him wrong, and he would decide like, all right, I'm gonna ground Corey.
Yeah, just because he knew he had the power. My little brother had that too, kind of. He like me and my brother would be told by our parents, like, hey, don't let Casey eat anything sweet. We don't want to ruin his appetite. He was like obsessed with Skittles and brownies and stuff. That's all he cared about. And we'll get to what I care about soon.
Same, honestly.
And they would like leave him home with us, and he would just cry the entire time because we wouldn't let him eat a brownie. And then he'd call my parents or write one of those notes. Remember the notes you'd write your parents? Yeah. He'd be like, hey, Mom and Dad, Drew and Brittany did this to me. They wouldn't let me eat Skittles. And then I said this, and then they said this. Yeah. And I just want to have some Skittles. Love you, Casey. There's like an argument we'd prepare.
That's so
like
much better than...
preparing a debate, but in these weird notes.
I love that. That is a memory that I had completely forgotten about. The kid I used to babysit would do that too. He'd be like, I'm going to leave this for my mom.
About you?
Yeah. Yeah, because he was my younger brother's friend. So he was like, controlling him he was 5 years younger. So like he was big enough that he could make it a pain in the ass for me to babysit him. Yeah. And he would write the note about how I wouldn't let him have candy, and like I was mean to him and all this. He would just make shit up.
Did the parents ever believe it?
No.
They never talk to you about it or anything?
No, because like they were family friends.
Yeah.
So like obviously I wasn't gonna do anything because my dad knew his mom and they were friends and like all this other. So it was funny.
What if it was true? It turns out you're just this really awful bully.
Yeah, right.
But you only do it in situations where you can control the narrative. Hey, Corey Tyndall right here. Is it pronounced Tyndall?
Yes.
Okay, got it.
Yeah. No, as soon as this camera's off, I'm just going to be mean as shit to you. This is...
He's forcing me to do this. He's forcing me to look this happy right now.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Come do my podcast, everyone. No, it actually changed in the middle of me babysitting him because I babysat him for like 2 years, and he got a cell phone in the middle of that. So then it switched to him texting his mom all that shit. And then she would be
and
like...
now Corey's in the bathroom.
Way more annoyed. Yeah.
He's been in the bathroom for a long time.
He took your computer.
He's going through your drawers.
Yeah. Why is he smelling things? I'm kidding. Marcy, if you're listening to this, I didn't do anything weird. Oh, boy.
Wow, your family friends listen to your podcast?
I don't know.
Pretty big deal.
Every once in a while, like one time my uncle texted me because I had my cousin on who didn't want to use his real last name, and but he listened to it. No idea he listened to it. And he just texted me. He goes, I wonder who Scott D is. And I was like, I didn't know you were fucking listening. As far as you're concerned, it's nobody. It's one of my friends from here.
Yeah. Oh man, I just realized that one of my cousins listens to my podcast, and
terrifying.
My parents don't know about my pod yet, but they'll probably hear through that.
They don't follow you on Instagram or anything?
No, they follow me on Facebook, but I don't post on Facebook anymore.
Okay.
Yeah.
My mom does follow me on Instagram. I know my aunt does. My dad and my stepmom do not, because they were like, it seems like he wants to have that one by himself.
That's nice that they like.
It is not. I mean, my mom's got no boundaries on that part, but it's like that's what they promised with Facebook too. Is they were like, "Oh, Corey can have. We won't interact. We'll be friends, but like we won't do anything." And then every post was like my grandfather commenting, or like I'm trying to put some like deep poem up there because I'm 15 years old and angsty. And
you did a lot of that?
Oh yeah.
Oh man.
Oh yeah. I had like long hair and everything. We'll get into it. But my grandpa would just be like, sounds intense. Like right. It's like, God damn it.
Just trolling you, your grandpa?
What? But he wasn't. He was like trying to be earnest and like supportive.
Like a loving figure.
Yes. I'm the oldest grandchild too. So I think he was no idea what to do. I didn't see him commenting on the younger cousins stuff.
Sounds intense.
But
pretty crazy story, man.
Yeah, right. Call us. Yeah. But it was hard. I mean, this is the topic. It's really hard to be yourself when you're a teenager on social media,
you don't know what
and
you're
your
doing.
parents, your parents are seeing everything. That's why Snapchat will never go away.
Yeah.
Kids love Snapchat because parents are terrified of it.
Yeah.
They have no idea what they're doing.
They don't know what they're doing. You're right. Yeah. My parents weren't even on Facebook when I first had it. And
Lucky you.
I was doing crazy. I guess I was being myself at the time, but like whoever that is not me now. It maybe is to some extent. Like I get the memories, you know, of my post. It'll be like Birdman fly in any weather, Birdman flying, just written 20 times.
It's just a cry for help.
One time I just wrote rot. One time I wrote you remember how,
that's the type of shit that I was posting. My family's reading into it. I'm like,
nobody commented on mine. No one's like, oh, sounds intense. You need some help.
How old were you?
This would have been in college is when I got my Facebook.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
I gotcha.
I was drinking a lot, so you know.
Weren't we
That's
all?
how to be yourself.
Yes.
That's when it comes out. Hey.
Yeah, right. Oh boy, that'll get you into trouble.
Yeah. Noise now.
No,
I thought it was squeaking. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I got you. Maybe. He's a couple of years old.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it. I'll fix it in post. When did you get Facebook? How old were you?
I must have been a freshman or a sophomore.
In college?
In college, yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, because I went to college, 2005 was my first year.
Okay.
I'm 35.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So it was real, I guess it was brand new, kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it was like back when, did you have it when it was like you would have full conversations across pages? It would be like my friend Tim would be like, "Hey, what are you guys doing tonight? We're gonna be at the Horseshoe. You guys should come." All right, later.
Just
Cowabunga. They like do their sign-offs and stuff, and then I reply to their page. So I also now sometimes get memories where it's just like someone randomly responding to something I had said to them.
Well, that would be vague and hard to understand.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I didn't get. My mom was very worried about Facebook, and I'm like trying to figure out how to do a bit about how like my parents growing up were. Not my parents. My mom was very terrified of like what we were going to get into on the internet when I was in middle school and high school, and now it's like completely flipped.
Yeah,
where like I wasn't allowed to have Facebook until I was like 14 or 15. Like I could have AIM, but I could only talk to my cousin and like other family members, because like my mom was convinced I was gonna see hookers or something, and I'm 12 years old, and it's like there was one time we had a pop-up on the
my
laptop.
Son's pretty good looking.
Yeah, right.
It could happen.
He's very tall for his age.
It has flipped though. Sorry to interrupt, but I was just thought about
totally
this today
flipped.
because like you get like spam text every so often that's like just a picture about Bitcoin, and they just want you to click on it. I'm like, my dad would click on any text he get. He's clicking on all of it. I'm worried about him.
Yeah.
Yeah. But what were you saying though?
Like they read and believe so much stuff that they're starting insurrections at the Capitol. Like those the deep fake videos of like Trump being manhandled and arrested and shit. Like fooled millions of people. I saw that the first time. I was like, who would believe that? It's not even good. And then it's like, turns out Fox News isn't even. They're like, I don't know. It's just like, this was here. All right.
Trump's acting weird in this video, but otherwise looks pretty legit. Everyone needs the fake news training.
Yeah.
And then the phishing email training and stuff. We have to do those at work, but the training is so limited. It's just like, don't open stuff from people you don't really know. If you do open it, don't click, don't respond.
Right.
But it's not like, hey, here's what it looks like, and here are the like telltale signs.
Yeah. Well, it's the train of just like, oh no, I only believe stuff from people that I know. And it's like, all right, well, where did they get it?
Yeah.
Because like if your neighbor reposted something that's not true, I think older people are like, oh, well, Nancy's never lied to me before. Yeah,
the source just stops at one.
Yes, exactly. Or there is no source. The source is like a Russian bot. And it never.
Yeah.
Anyway, old people are definitely being themselves online. That is.
Oh, yeah, man. I've heard about these accounts, but I haven't seen them yet. I actually needed my friend to send me a link so I can like start getting them in my feed. But I've heard about these like TikToks where it's just people who don't know they're on the internet, and they're like trying to like have they think they're like FaceTiming their wives or something. I gotta get that in my algorithm.
God damn it. That's so I can't do like I love hearing people talk about it. I can't watch those videos. They're too cringy.
Yeah.
I want to harm these people.
I might get a little bit sad with some of this. Oh, you'd get angry.
Oh, I get angry. It's like I can't watch scenes in The Office either. Because if like Michael in The Office is being so cringy, I have to turn it off.
Cringe makes you angry, not embarrassed.
It makes me mad.
Why does it make you mad though?
It's like a pit in my stomach that I just like I'm so secondhand embarrassed for them that I get angry that I can't stop it. Like if I was in the room, I'd be like, no, you're coming with me.
Do you think, because I realize the only times I get like really emotional about cringy stuff is when it's something I think I would do that I actually truly would be embarrassed about. And it's almost like I don't want to even think about me doing that because it's probably right around the corner. Like I'm probably going to do that, whatever it is, you know?
It's definitely worse, especially if I see something that's cringy and then realize I did that when I was younger.
Oh, yeah.
That's, or like even more recently than younger. Yeah. Like it's something that happened last week and I'm like, oh no. Yeah.
If it was recent, I would definitely be like, I would start to get nauseous. But if it was far away, I love embarrassing stories from my childhood. Like they're my favorite because it feels like it's not me. So it's easy to be like, look at this. Just like with the Facebook stuff. It's like, Birdman flying any weather on repeat. That's not me now. So it's easy to make fun of, I guess.
Yeah. I guess you're more secure in yourself than I am. I don't know.
No, I don't know about
that. I'm like, I don't know. I still, yeah. Because I don't know. As a kid, I was pretty unapologetic about kind of just doing whatever I wanted.
Yeah.
Like, I grew my hair out twice. I had like very long hair. It was like a third of the way down my back.
Why'd you cut it the first time?
So I was going to college. I was like, all right, new location, new me, need to cut it short. And then I started losing the hair.
The tips as well? The blonde tips?
No.
Oh, wait, that was...
No.
That was probably way earlier for you.
I thought about dyeing it black, and I'm glad I never did.
Oh, I did that once.
But... Yeah, you got darker hair than I did.
Yeah, it didn't really make a difference. People just thought it was winter.
I didn't put together that I would have had black hair and a ginger beard.
Oh yeah,
and that would have been wild looking.
Wait, I was just thinking. Sorry, I was just thinking about. I think maybe it's easy to make fun of myself. You know how So you were saying maybe it means I'm secure, but the opposite could be true. You know how like people who are insecure put other people down?
Sure.
I'm just doing that to myself in the past. Like,
okay.
Yeah, maybe I'm not letting it out on other people, but I'm doing it to myself. Like, look at this idiot.
That can't be healthy.
And it just makes me feel better about me now.
Yeah. That's a good point. I mean, there is something to be said for like, look how far you've come, you know?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
Yeah, I guess it depends how much you internalize it. We'll put the psychology hats on. How much is it? You know, I wouldn't use it to like base your whole self-esteem off of, but I think that's healthy to an extent. It's we're all ridiculous.
Yeah, and it's a way of accepting yourself, kind of.
Yeah, I think it is. Like, I definitely have become more secure in what I did as a kid, just because now I'm like old enough that I can look at someone who's 15 and just be like, oh, I don't take anything you do seriously.
Oh, yeah.
So why should I take anything that I did at 15 seriously? And also I was always under the impression that everyone was always judging me. That was my,
me too.
like everything that I did. Someone was judging me.
Yeah. I couldn't walk across the classroom to go to the bathroom because I'd get so anxious. Like just walking, I think everyone was thinking about the way I was walking. I don't do that anymore. I'm fine.
No, you came in and went right to the bathroom. I'm real proud of you.
That's true. I'm pretty good now. I just get it out of the way and I'm like calm after that. I can walk in front of Corey right to his bathroom.
Oh,
That's
my God. Look how far you've come.
I wish my teachers could see me now.
Yeah, right. Well, they can watch this podcast. They'll get it.
But wait, so you thought people were judging you all the time?
Yeah. You know, probably a little bit of narcissism, which every kid's just a full-blown narcissist.
Yeah.
And some people never grow out of it. But I also think, like, as a kid, I was very judgy. And so, like, because I was judging everyone else, well, of course everyone's judging me as hard as I'm judging them, which, you know, obviously not healthy for a myriad of reasons.
It's weird that when you're a teen, it's like, it's almost like, because I feel like a lot of teens do go through that where you do start judging everybody, but it's almost like because everyone's trying so hard to figure out how to fit in.
Yeah.
You kind of have to judge the whole, like, all the examples in front of you and be like, what's okay and what's not okay.
Yeah.
And it's for your own, like, weird survival within the group. But yeah, you end up just like being a piece of shit by criticizing everybody.
Yeah. I mean, well, I don't think I felt like I ever figured out how to fit in.
Yeah.
Until like maybe the second half of my senior year. Or like senior year was pretty good. I think I figured it out because like I think I got less judgy as like, you know, my hormones went down to a more normal level. But like part of me thinks that I
stopped posting poems for your grandpa.
Well, you know, I went from like posting angsty song lyrics to like fighting with people online who hated gay people.
Oh,
so that was like the angst came out in different ways. It was a good outlet. In retrospect, I always have to give this girl credit. My freshman year of college, she posted some like very like anti-gay stuff on Facebook, and it was my freshman year of college is right when Obama turned or made gay marriage legal, which obviously pissed off a lot of people.
Yeah.
And so we got in this like huge Facebook fight in the comments, just like wide open for everyone to see. And then 3 years later, I saw her at a bar in my hometown, and she came up to me and was like, you know what? I'm really sorry. You were 100% right. And I was like, holy shit.
Hey.
That really happens? Like,
yeah. And maybe she got there a little bit more quickly because of it.
I hope so.
Yeah.
I like to think so. That's how I go to bed at night.
Yeah.
Just like, you know,
Every
I'm
night,
a real ally.
You just write in your journal about the exact same experience.
Yeah.
And you're like, I'm a good guy.
Still riding that high. It's like, yeah, I kicked a dog today, but I did help the gays that one time.
Yeah.
No, if I'm like, if we go into the deep psychology of it, I don't think I ever figured out how to fit in my high school because my hometown was very rich. My family didn't have a ton of money. My dad was a public school teacher and my stepmom was a librarian. So like we weren't starving or anything, but we didn't have, like I knew people that had full basketball courts in the basement of their house. Like that level of rich.
Oh my God.
And so I think the long hair.
You didn't even have the like Billabong shirt or something.
No. All of my clothes were bought with Kohl's cash.
Yeah,
It was
yeah.
like my stepmom would go get something from Kohl's, and that was only if my dad hadn't accidentally put something through the dryer and it shrunk down to my size. So I didn't feel like, so I think the long hair, looking back on it, was a defense mechanism of saying like, no, I'm not a part of you and I don't want to be a part of you.
Yeah.
But then once like, I think as I got older, I was like, oh, they're not judging me as much as I thought they were.
Yeah. Did your parents ever try and give you that talk? I remember my dad being like, no one's thinking about you more than you are.
No.
Like they're all thinking about themselves. And I wish I believed it immediately, but it took me a long time.
Yeah.
And I still go in and out of believing it.
No, I had pretty low self-esteem about my body for most of my life. Yeah. No, the one that I laugh at, which like I've talked about with my dad, and it is kind of funny now, is when I was like 12, I'm obviously big. I'm a big person, but I like had some chunk to me. So my dad was like, all right, so here's the deal. And this was like mid-October. Every pound that you lose between now and the end of the year, I will give you $10. And I was thinking at the time, like, oh shit, I'm gonna make like $200. Like, this is gonna be great. I
did the math a bunch of times. It's right. The math is right.
The math is. I'm gonna buy a house and move out. What's gonna happen. But what ended up happening is I ended up gaining weight in that time because I'm a 12-year-old boy. Of course I gained weight.
Yeah.
Like if I gained an inch,
you're like working against
height.
Natural growth.
Also, it's the holidays. I had to go through Thanksgiving and Christmas, and it's just like, all right, good luck. And so it kind of internalized like, oh, and his reasoning was like, he said like, oh, you're not fat, but just as you get older, everything will be easier if you're in shape. So I want to promote like a healthy lifestyle, which was his intention. He had the best of his intentions. It backfired so hard.
Because you're just like, I can't do this. And you keep feeling like you're failing.
I guess I can't lose weight. That's what I'm doing here. And so it didn't, I'm not saying that my life would have been different in any way. I don't think it would have, but, you know. If he didn't give me that, if I lost the weight, I think it might have been like I might have been more confident. But in a weird way, the fact that I felt like I didn't really belong did kind of actually help me just kind of be myself a little bit more. Yeah. Because it was like, well, they're gonna hate me anyway, so like, what's it matter? Let me grow my hair out and wear band T-shirts for Slipknot and shit like that.
Slipknot. Wait, are they the ones? Who's the one that goes ooh wah ah ah?
That's Disturbed. I had them too. So
I always forget. I always mix those two up for some reason. Yeah, Disturbed.
You big fan?
Like... I just like love new metal from that period.
Hell yeah.
Because I was like super into it, and it's all so insane and like silly.
I didn't realize it was silly at the time though, because I was like 14. I was like, oh my god, these guys fucking get it. It is all fucked.
And also, I was like, oh, Eric Williams likes Korn. So do I. You know, I did a bunch of that in like elementary school and middle school.
Tell me about that.
Doing stuff for boys that I liked.
Yeah.
So there's Eric Williams. I ended up dancing with him.
He's a comic now, right?
Yeah, I followed him here.
All the way from middle school.
From age like 12 to... That's how I made it. That's how I got here, you know? That's why I have the pod. That's why I have the shows that I run in the city. That's why I do festivals. Thanks, Eric Williams.
This is really... And the dedication is honestly.
Yeah. But actually, I want to write a joke along these lines because, like, there was a lot of that happening to the point that I was thinking about it. It's like a lot of what I did maybe made me look like a well-rounded person. Like, this is the extreme version of it. And like, imagine like being interviewed for like a college admissions, and they're looking at your CV. They're like, "Oh, you played the sax, you did this, you played the clarinet as well. Oh, wow, you got into corn or whatever it might be."
Red flag.
Yeah, you put up a Star Wars poster of Queen Amidala in your room that one year.
There's no way your parents didn't think you were gay that year. They had to be like, let's see how long this stays up. Yeah. Is this a fad or is this a personality trait?
I know. And then there's like a collage of like magazine cutouts, and it's like a lot of girly stuff, but so much
and then
Eminem.
A Subaru. Oh, okay.
Yeah, Subaru. But so like, I don't know. It looks like you like have a lot of interests, but like a big handful of those, I'm like, oh, I did that for Trevor. I did that for Eric. I did that for this. I was hoping Trevor would see that Queen Amidala poster in my room if he ever came in for some reason. And he'd be like, I like her. One time, this is so embarrassing. This is probably the most extreme memory of this that I have. Wait, other than the horse one, which I'll get to eventually.
Yeah,
but
we'll get to the horse one. We got time.
One time so this is back to Eric Williams. Hope you're listening. He
fucking better be at this point.
I know. I was in the library and Eric was in there as well. He was walking around and I opened up my notebook and I was like, okay, I'm going to write out the lyrics to Eminem's The Way I Am as fast as I can. And hope that he like walks by and sees and is like, oh, Brittany's really cool. I like her.
So what
I just
was
sat
gonna
there scribbling
happen?
The Way I Am.
If he asked you about it, what was your response gonna be?
I probably would have just been like,
oh,
hey,
I'm gonna wrap this for the variety show.
You want to see it? He's just like scribbled lyrics. I didn't think it through at all, but I was like, yeah, that'll get him. That's what boys like.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, boys like attention at that age. So you made it way
I gave him
more
no
complicated
attention because I didn't think he would ever like me, so I was very shy about it all. Yeah.
Interesting.
But then he asked me to dance with him at homecoming dance.
Oh.
And I interpreted it as a pity dance. I was like, he doesn't like me. So I didn't even enjoy it. The whole time I was like, this piece of shit. He knew that I liked him and thinks that he has to dance with me, and that's all that's going on. And
Are
then
you just repeating a plot line from Pen 15? Like, this sounds so
I love
much.
That show.
It's a great show.
Wait, which one was this?
What
which or what happens?
Oh,
in
I
the
don't know.
episode?
It just sounds like something that would be in that show.
I feel like
speaking of shows that make me so cringy, I want to fight somebody.
That's how I was though in middle school and elementary school. I love that show, but yeah, it's sometimes I'm like, I did exactly these things.
It's funny, but also terrifying how many times I've actually heard that from women. They're like, "Oh, it's so indicative." I was like, "Really? Was everyone like this?"
Oh, yeah. All my friends were. But yeah, I thought he was just doing it because he felt like he had to. But then I found during the pandemic when I was home, I was looking through like old yearbooks.
Yeah.
And he had written in mine something, have a great summer, and said something really nice, and then gave me his phone number, which most kids weren't giving out their phone numbers.
Yeah.
And
was
I was
it like his parents' landline or something?
Yeah, kids would like call. I remember like calling some boys and like writing out a script because I didn't know what I was gonna say. But yeah, I was like, oh, maybe he like genuinely wanted to like hang, and I was all weird. I was like, oh, just read my Eminem lyrics. That's what I'm like.
I feel like, man, perception's a bitch, huh? It's just
and I'm like, I probably still do that now. Like, I miss a lot of stuff.
Like what?
I don't know. Like, I'll get in my head about things.
Sure.
And then I'll like decide, like maybe I'm interested in somebody, and then I'll be like deciding I'm not. I'm like, nah. And then I don't talk to them, and then I'm like,
gotcha.
And then they think I'm not interested, and I'm like, oh. And like sometimes later you find out they were, and you're like, what?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's hard to break that cycle Like in high school, I kind of had the like, I was kind of the same, but I was also had the, I think it's got to be different for men and women, right? Like in high school, let's say boys and girls, because they're not adults, but like, I think kind of, I never had an issue like asking someone out that I wanted to. And it's not because I thought that they like were definitely into me. It's oh, well, if I don't do this, like they're a girl, they're never going to ask me. So I kind of internalized the sexism, which actually made me do it. But I guess most high school girls aren't going to ask the guy. Where like in your situation, it sounds like you just kind of like sat back, and then the guy you did like actually like did find you eventually, things, and then you got in your own head about it. But I was
like, he's faking. Like nothing would work with me because I wouldn't believe anything.
Did a lot of people fake like you? Is that
everyone asked me to dance, and I was like, God, everyone hates me.
You're like Carrie in the Stephen King book. You're like, they're gonna dump blood on me.
I don't know. I mean, I do still do that from time to time too. Like. Even when someone will, like I was saying, I miss a lot of stuff, but then even when I start dating someone, I will kind of not believe them for a long time. Like that they care, I guess.
Interesting.
Yeah.
How long?
That's something I got to work on. Probably shouldn't process that here, but I don't know. I mean, I think part of it is like some past relationships where I actually shouldn't have trusted somebody very fast.
Yeah.
And now I'm like, especially like, wait, when do I believe this, and when should I like keep waiting for information or something? Yeah.
And it's okay. It's a defense mechanism. It's just like you can't get hurt if like you were ready to be hurt, right?
Yeah, and if
it's
you
like,
feel like you knew all along that you were being scammed,
and
it feels good to be like, yeah, I knew it was a scam, but then you don't enjoy any of it.
Right, that's the thing. And then you're doing like the other person could definitely pick up on the fact that you're being weird and skittish, and so it's just like, all right, well, you're kind of self-fulfilling prophecy over here.
Then it happens, and it's like, well, I did that, but yeah.
God damn it.
I know. It's really an issue.
Been there.
Well, good thing I got therapy in 2 days.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
New topic.
Yeah.
I discovered this on a podcast about myself.
Yeah. But I did a ton of stuff just because I was like, I mean, I was young, but
sure.
I think it's funny. I played the sax so I could sit next to Trevor McDonald, the same guy I hoped would see the Queen Amidala poster in my bedroom.
Yeah.
And I played the sax for like 2 weeks, and then I don't know, I gave up, I guess.
Yeah, that checks out. I mean, there were a lot of things I did for 2 weeks as a kid, not for someone else. So I'm like, did you have like multi-year long crushes on multiple people at the same time? I'm trying to figure out timelines. Where you're just like, all right, these are the 5, and I'm going to figure out how to get with all of them at the same time. So he thinks I like Eminem. He thinks I play the sax. He thinks...
and that's why I don't date multiple people at once now, because it's too much to keep track of. I went through that in middle school.
I don't know how people do that.
I can't do it.
Even when I was single, I'd like try to talk to 2 people at a time on Hinge. I'm mixing up their names. I'm mixing up stories. I was like, this is an absolute catastrophe.
It's awful.
They both realize I'm not that into them.
Yeah.
So like,
I'm spreading my time way too thin.
How do people do that?
I can't understand it at all.
God damn.
I did it. Well, I barely did it one time. Like there was like 1 month where, and it was during the pandemic. It was just like,
just any attention.
Basically, like I did a lot of things I shouldn't have done in the pandemic. Like, like hung out with people that like, you know who you are.
Yeah. Look, we're in the comedy community. There's plenty of anti-vaxxers here.
I was seeing like 4, barely seeing, like lightly hooking up with like 4 different people. And it was freaking me out so much. Even though nothing really happened with any of them, it was just the idea that I had like 4. It's like having 4 Tamagotchis or Gigapets. You remember when you got one and you're like, oh, I think I want one more.
I can handle more.
And
of
I
this.
got 2, and they're all beeping.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's really baseline. Like that's what I can't handle. It's just having like a bunch of extra tasks to do.
People used to do that with kids.
Yeah.
It's
oh
like
my
you
God,
see an old like farm family of 13 kids. You're like, well, 3 of them died because they got in front of the tractor.
Yeah,
You're like, how did that even happen? It's like, there's too many.
I didn't hear their beep. My dad had
beep louder.
You gotta beep, boy, beep. My dad had 9 siblings. Has 9
Holy
siblings.
shit.
Yeah. A lot of beeping
Three
in that
of them
family.
got run over by the tractor.
Yeah, I can't imagine. But
Oh, my God.
I wonder if that's what it feels like when you have like a few kids in a relationship. Now it just feels like your partner's dating 3 other people. And
Yeah.
you're like, I can tell she's not really here.
Well, I've heard plenty of people say that, like, once you have kids, your spouse just becomes a coworker.
Yeah.
And that sounds miserable. But I
Sounds
guess
awful.
if you like the kids more than you are indifferent to the coworker, then
Yeah.
it's worth it. And then I guess, like, once you're empty nesters, you can be friends again. But,
Yeah, as long as you don't hate your coworker.
I don't know. My parents are divorced, so obviously
yeah.
I'm not sure how that's supposed to work. Did it feel weirdly freeing to like half-ass date so many people and not care about, or unless you did care about what they were thinking? I'm assuming when you've got that many people, you're not really giving a shit what any of the 4 individually thinks of you.
Yeah, I think it was like the one time where I kind of knew that none of them were ever going to be a real thing.
Yeah.
And so it didn't matter much to me, but I had anxiety, even though I knew that they wouldn't care. And it was like so new that it's like nobody could say that I wasn't allowed to do that. And like we hadn't talked about any of that.
Okay, yeah.
It's like I still had a lot of anxiety about
It's
it.
New York. There were no rules over
There's
the
no
pandemic.
rules.
There's
Yeah. Yeah. But wait, what was your question?
Like, did it feel, as opposed to like a normal
freeing at all.
relationship? Yeah. Well, you were saying like a normal relationship, like you sometimes don't believe that they're really that into you. But like with this one where you're kind of half-ass dating these 4
yeah.
people, was it freeing? And it's like, I don't
Yeah.
give a shit if they like me or
Actually,
not.
the times that I have been able to be like, I don't care. This is just a thing that's fun, which is rare for me.
Yeah.
It has been kind of freeing where I'm like, this doesn't matter. It's just an extra thing if I want to do it. But
Gotcha.
I usually don't think that way. Like I'm
Right.
usually like trying to figure out if I think it's a good thing or not.
Right.
So, yeah.
Right.
Even if I go into it casually sometimes, I'm still like, yeah, but obviously like you're always kind of wondering if it could be a thing, like a good thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if a lot of people do that, especially like younger men, like men in their 20s.
Oh, no, they're not doing
generally
that.
don't
No.
do that. But then, yeah, I think as they get a little bit older, like when you start to like someone, do you know right away, or do you have to look down and be like, oh fuck, I'm writing Eminem lyrics again? Like,
Like the way I know if I like someone is if I'm doing that.
yes.
If I'm buying a saxophone, then I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, who is
He's
it?
like, the guy's really into poetry, and so you find yourself like picking up a Silverstein book.
Yeah, man, that's hilarious. I might use that in a
Feel
bit
free
if you
to
don't
take
mind.
that.
That's really funny.
That was a half question, half joke. I'm glad
listening
you
to
picked
Joe
it up
Rogan
as a
now.
joke.
It's like something's going on.
You know, it does have some good points.
Yeah.
It's like, you know,
I've definitely done that in relationships before where
sure.
I am like, oh, okay, I'll give it a shot. I'll see what it's about. They keep talking about it.
Yeah.
And then you kind of do want to give them the benefit of the doubt and be like, yeah, I could see like some elements are fine or whatever.
Yeah. I don't think that's bad, right? Like
Yeah.
my current relationship, when we were like kind of flirting with each other but hadn't really done anything, she kept talking about this movie. And so you do like the flirting thing. It was like, all right, you watch that, I'll watch this.
Oh,
And like
yeah.
she didn't watch the movie that I gave her, but I watched the one but it was also because I like kind of wanted to watch the movie.
Oh,
like
okay, yeah.
and then I was like,
You
oh,
didn't
okay.
like write notes and you're like, I'm going to talk to her about
Well,
this.
no, I was
That's
like,
what I would've done.
The joke was that we had to, like, we would each watch the movie and then write a full 5-page report, like book report on the movie. And obviously we were kidding about the book report, but I went into Google Docs and I mocked up like the title page and I put like a header on it and then like
to use like Microsoft Word art.
no.
Oh,
It looked like it was MLA format.
Yeah.
Like I had the title and it
really
was
serious.
like the movie. I forget. I can't even remember. I think it was called Mother. It was a horror movie. But then I like got down to the second page and just for the abstract, I said the monster had big old titties, and that was the whole paper. So I like sent it to her as a Google Doc, and so she had to open it up and be like, "What the fuck is this? Is he serious?" And then it was so I like played it off as a joke, but I was like, "No, I'm having fun doing this. It's not like I'm signing up for like I don't know."
Yeah, I would do that too. Like that's a good move. Then I'd be like, hey, this guy, he watched the movie.
He watched the
He made
movie.
it into a bit.
Yeah.
Now it's a bit we can call back all the
I'm
time.
all about bits, baby.
Oh man, yeah, gotta love a bit. sucks though when you think a bit's starting and then you realize like you thought you both were on the same page about it being a bit and later you're like, oh, that wasn't a bit.
And that's what I lay awake at night thinking about.
Actually, those ones I cringe at a lot. I'm like, man, I thought we had a connection there.
I do that on stage too. Where
yeah,
it's
yeah.
like, you guys not realize I'm
yeah.
Oh boy. I mean, okay, so let's get to the horse story because this is
it sounds
what
like
it's,
you said horror story, which it kind of was.
Horse story. It's,
a lot of tears.
Yeah,
I was
but
gonna
that's
say
what
blood
we're
and
talking
tears.
about because was that the first time? Tell the story, and then the question is like, was that the first time you were ever like, oh, I need to change because I'm obviously not?
That's the first obvious time looking back.
Okay.
Like if it were a movie, it would have been like the end of the first scene or the first what do they call it? Act.
Yeah.
I don't know anything about movies, but I've heard someone say this before, so I'm saying it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it would have been like there.
Okay.
Where it's like, oh, now something has to change or whatever. So the horse thing, when I was a kid, a lot of people have imaginary friends or like imaginary something. I had horses.
Imaginary horses.
Imaginary horses.
But not real horses.
No real horses. My parents bought me a saddle at one point.
Just to put on the floor?
Yeah, just to keep trying to put on my air horses. I think they did it for them. I think it was a joke for them. Yeah.
No.
They thought I'd just be out in the yard.
Between that and the prank toilet your dad made,
yeah.
I feel like your parents had a very good sense of humor.
Yeah. They bought
Did
me.
you have a big dog you could maybe put
We
the
did
saddle
have a big dog,
on?
but they bought me one of those those like wooden things that you saw wood on.
Yeah, sawhorse.
A sawhorse. Man, I don't know anything about my own horse story.
Horse you put the saws on. You're like, yeah, sawhorse.
They bought me one of those, so I had the saddle on that and would just sit in my room and read a book or something on my fake horse.
That's not comfortable.
I know. They
Just God damn it.
So,
Your parents totally did it as a joke.
what'd you say? I can't
They
even
totally
understand
did
you.
it as a joke.
I know.
Your parents are the funniest people I've ever
They
heard
bought
of.
me a lead rope and like a halter and a brush
Okay.
and a little box to put everything in and a book about how to buy a horse. And I never got one.
How to buy a horse?
Yeah, it was like
You lay in bed and dream about like driving down a dirt road to go pick up a big old mare or something.
I don't know what was in that. I guess it was just like costs of
You
different
gotta
breeds.
find that. You gotta find that.
It was like
book.
what's that, like Betty Blue book or something for cars? I feel like it was that for horses.
Betty Blue Book. It's Kelly Blue Book.
Kelly.
Yeah, it's like
Maybe
Betty
just-
Blue Book. Betty Blue Book sounds like a cookbook, like from the 1910s.
Yeah. Maybe they bought me
Oh
that
my
book to
God.
be like, this is how expensive they are. It's never gonna happen. Here's your saddle.
Okay.
But like,
So,
I didn't put that
hit you
together. I
with
was just
some
like,
truth.
all right.
Yeah. Kids don't understand money, or like it might as well have been in schmeckles.
We
or
only
something.
understand dreams, when you're a kid.
Yeah.
One time I had a dream that, oh, this was so disappointing. I had this dream. I mean, I had lots of horse dreams back then, but
Sure.
this one, and I got to tell you more about the imaginary horses after this.
Yeah.
But, so this one, I had a dream that I just had a real horse in my backyard, and it was like a really long dream, like long in terms of the number of years covered in the dream.
Wow.
So it felt really real. It
You
felt
on
like
DMT
this,
or something?
yeah. I'm like 13.
Yeah.
Oh no, wait, I must have been way younger than that. But yeah, it felt like such a real dream. It felt like this horse friend I'd had for years.
Okay.
And it was just in my backyard. I woke up that morning and like looked out the window really believing that I had that horse.
That's tough.
And there was nothing there.
Oh no.
So disappointed. I remember being really sad about that because it just felt like
That's
I could finally use my saddle.
I know a comic that he doesn't sleep, like he doesn't get any sleep, and when he does, he dreams, but he gets so little sleep that he can't tell dreams from real life.
Oh,
he went
man.
6 months thinking he got in this in a huge
Oh.
fight with the booker at Broadway Comedy Club.
Oh.
Turns out he never talked to him,
no.
but he was like, "Yeah, I fucking hate that guy."
Was the fight like, was it absurd at all?
I guess it was I guess it was just like a legitimate, like, fuck you type of fight. So anyway, don't feel bad. I know adults that do that.
Yeah. Jeez, he doesn't sleep at all?
I'll tell you.
I think he has regular, normal dreams.
Oh, I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah. But so.
Anyway, yeah. So you've got this sawhorse, you've got a saddle.
Yeah.
And a brush,
so it wasn't like I was just
brothers
imagining.
Brothers that are definitely making fun of you.
Yeah. I don't remember them making fun of me, but they had to have. But it wasn't like I was just imagining having a horse based on the sawhorse and my saddle.
Sure.
And my brushes and stuff. It was it was way before that. I must have had just as many horses as I could come up with names.
Okay.
There were like some primary horses that I had. But it was like it
was like MySpace. You had your inner circle, your outer circle of horses.
You don't really remember the outer circle ones, but you like know. You know you could like contact them.
Do you remember what some of the names were?
Little Black was based on a real horse.
Okay.
That I had ridden at there were a couple times where I did horseback riding lessons.
Okay.
So I knew the deal, you know.
Right.
You got to have the real horse to imagine the fake
You're kind of an
horses.
expert on horses.
Yeah. So that was like my main horse, and then there was like Mountain and like Snowball and like all these like typical.
Those are good horse names.
Yeah, they're good. They're good. Snowball is a real horse too, actually. Okay. Yeah, there were a couple that were overlapped with reality.
You're just stealing names and like coming up with versions.
I was like real creative. I could imagine lots of horses that looked in a lot of different ways, but then I couldn't just like come up with any names. So it wasn't like I just thought about how I have them.
Right.
It was like I would spend my recesses riding around, like galloping. I did the whole look. I had the reins out. I would be like whipping like myself basically. And I'm like cantering and trotting. I'm doing all the different walks. And I would make noises. Like I would be like, I used to be so much better at it than now. That wasn't good.
You're rusty.
You
gotta get it into your set and it'll come back. It's like
I was doing that all the time. I would be like just walking down the playground like and I loved it. And then one time, do you know the Lipizaners?
No.
It's a type of horse that they are like show horses, and they do all these like really interesting moves. They do
dancing.
They do little dances. Okay. They stand up and do like hoof stuff.
Sure.
They do these like really interesting trots. Man, I gotta watch some Lipizaner videos after this. But my mom took me to go see them one time. And then I think like that just gave me so much more material for my riding. Because then I started doing like weirder stuff. Like there's this one walk they do where they like stick their legs come out like that in like this really like slow, like weird, elegant way.
Right.
So then I'm walking around the playground, sticking my legs way out and like I remember like balancing on little. There'd be like a perimeter to the playground, you know, like a little piece of wood or whatever. Yeah. And I would like do it on that. Okay. And I just probably looked insane. But I loved it. It was like all I cared about for a long time. And I was totally myself in those moments.
I'm sure you were entertaining the shit out of the teachers.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I really want to know what people's impressions were back then.
Were you quiet in class? And then you'd go be this like weirdo at recess? Or were you like the class clown in class and then also they're like, that's on brand for her?
I wasn't. I don't think I was a class clown back then. I was like later, like in high school. But I think I was like real serious about school and like a good student and everything and didn't make I remember being yelled at a couple times, but it was like accidents. Like, you know. But no. So they just released me onto the playground. I wonder if I stood at the door like a racehorse stands at this for the countdown, and then I just ran down the hall.
Somebody shoot a gun. I need a gun. I need a gun or I can't go.
But I'd be like at recess, like jumping over sticks and stuff. I'd do all sorts of tricks.
Whatever's gonna get the energy out of you
like,
for.
I'd be pretending to like ride around barrels and stuff. Okay. You know, like doing those. I don't even know the names of those shows, but like for.
God, am I glad I was into 4-H. Team sports as a child.
Oh yeah. I wonder if that's why my mom pushed sports for so long. Like
interesting.
Around that age, she was trying to get me to do like ballet and like all this other stuff. I wonder if that was part of it. I asked her recently because I'm trying to write more about this stuff, and I wanted to know like what her and my dad thought. I really do think they were joking about it a little bit, but when I asked her directly, she kind of was like, I don't know, Like, she won't give me any information. And I'm like,
Yeah.
This didn't worry you guys? Like, you didn't wonder if there was something weird going on with me? Like, did you need to take me to somebody to talk?
Yeah.
Or what? I also wet the bed till I was 12. Hey. So it's like, maybe there was a lot going on. I don't know. Maybe I needed to escape or something.
Yeah, I don't know. Okay, the bedwetting could definitely just be like biological, right?
Yeah, my dad
I
went
think
to
a lot of
bed
people
late, too.
just read into that, and it's like it just be bad genes.
Yeah, I don't think it's a real thing.
It definitely can be anxiety. So
Yeah.
I don't know if you're still wetting the bed, I would definitely check into that one. But
Last one was 16 years old at my friend's
16.
Parents' house.
Oh no!
Yeah, I slept over.
Tough.
I was so embarrassed. And she didn't tell her parents till like years later. She's one of my best friends.
Oh, that's good.
So, yeah.
I don't know. I think like it's kind of what I was saying before. It's like if I look at a kid and I take everything they do so not seriously.
Yeah.
In that same vein, like that was a huge part of your life at the time because
Yeah.
it was 1/5 of your life.
Yeah.
Well, like your parents were probably like, you were probably only weird for a year and a half.
Yeah.
Which is like no time to them. They're
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
oh
yeah.
yeah, this is little weirdo running around.
Yeah,
She'll grow out of it.
Right. It's a phase.
Yeah.
They were probably so busy with the other kids too. They're just like, it's good she's keeping busy, riding around in circles in the lawn.
Yeah. What were your brothers doing that were way more concerning?
I don't know. Just downing Skittles all
Your
day.
brothers writing manifestos.
Yeah.
They're like, well, Brittany's into horses, but it's going to have to wait.
My mom always tells the story of one time she was trying to take me to school and we went outside and I was like, wait. And then I ran behind the house and I came back and I was like holding I was like pretending to hold ropes behind me. Like I was bringing the horses to school. She loves that story.
Yeah.
Yeah. But, there were all these other examples too, because I got made fun of a lot.
Sure.
But there were other times when it was
like to your face or like behind your back? How aggressive were the kids at
well, in the beginning,
at your school?
I didn't really notice it. I think because I didn't care. At that time, I didn't care what people thought. And I just would ride around. There's this one girl who, okay, this was like really early on. I was riding around recess and I was jumping over stuff. And she came up to me and was like, what are you doing? And then I was real confident about it at the time and knew myself. And I was like, I'm riding my horses. And she gave me a look like she didn't know what I was talking about. So then I was like, okay, watch this. And then I whistled. I tried to do one of those like wee wee, like those like real powerful whistles, but I couldn't do it. So I actually just went wee wee with my fingers next to my mouth. And then I just stood there in front of this girl and like waited and just imagined a bunch of horses, like all my horses in a herd running down and surrounding us. Like,
wow.
Yeah, and I waited till they like
Some
settled.
Lord of the Rings shit.
Big
Where it's
time.
like,
Yeah. Kind of like mixed with like Lion King, you know, when like antelope were all coming down. That's kind of how I imagined it. And once they all settled down, I just said to her, I was like, see? And then she got her own imaginary horses after that.
Great.
And we became best friends for a little while.
You know what that was? She liked your confidence.
Yeah.
You're like, what up, bitch?
She's like, this can really happen to me?
Yeah, wait a minute. Obviously, the problem is I don't believe in myself.
Yeah, she needed direction. Like, I was like a cult leader in that moment for her. Girl says she has horses. She looks pretty happy.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
That's so funny.
So I remember like being really confident at one point, making at least one friend.
Sure.
Because I was like so sure of myself that she went with it. A lot like Hitler. Hey, man. Certain personalities. Maybe I was just an awful kid. That was like the concern with my parents. I had too many people in my cult, my horse cult, and they had to stop.
Are you for
that.
real?
No, it was only Amanda.
Okay.
I think it was just her. Yeah, that'd be hilarious.
I was like, holy shit, these kids are bored. There's no way they're still doing well.
So, but that was rare, I think. Like, I think most kids were bullying me. I remember one time.
There's always at least one more weirdo.
Yeah, there must have been other people who were like, I want to be like her someday.
Yeah.
There's this other time where I was running around in my field next to my house. I mean, it's small. It's just where the kids used to play sports and stuff. And then I would take it over for an hour and just do laps and do all my Lipizzan training.
You must have been in great shape.
I was running all the time.
Yeah.
I was running and hopping.
Galloping.
And yeah. I would throw my
Calves of
arms up in the
fucking
air
steel.
too.
Why is that little girl got such big calves? It's like, she pretends she's a horse and she does it a lot.
Yeah. So I went out. I was running around, and the next door neighbor comes out, and she's like, "What are you doing?" Right? Same lead as the other girl.
Yeah.
And I'm like, "I'm riding my horse."
This'll work again.
Yeah. I'll just do the mountain thing. She'll love it. She'll eat it up. Nobody ever rejects the mountain imagination. So I'm like, yeah, I'm riding my horse, and she doesn't believe me, and she like makes fun of me, and I'm like still serious about it. Like I didn't back down. I wasn't like, oh, I'm embarrassed, I'm gonna like run off and like think about whether I should have horses. I was like, no, I'm riding a horse. Yeah. I'm telling you.
What adult would like shut a kid down though?
She wasn't an adult. I mean, she was older than me, like maybe 2 or 3 years older. Yeah.
I was picturing like a woman.
Oh.
And like, you're not riding a horse, you stupid kid. We don't pretend in this town.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes more sense.
Yeah. And then she, I don't know if this was her idea or mine, but the idea was we bet each other to like a race.
Oh.
Like me as a horse, her as a human. Who wins? And somehow that would prove that I was on a horse if I won.
Hey, man.
And I won the race.
Holy shit. Galloping or did you just sprint? Okay.
I was doing my usual. I mean, I had a lot of practice with it.
Practice.
Yeah. Cantering is a pretty... Wait, I was galloping. I must have galloped. Cantering is the next level down.
Okay.
Yeah.
I see.
Yeah, it goes walk, trot, canter, gallop. There's probably other ones, but when you're a kid, you can only know 4 things about something, really.
If I were a religious person, I would be like, wow, God really just tried to stop you twice.
Yeah.
didn't land. You are
like,
so
she's almost
resilient.
7. It's
like,
going to start to be a problem.
After you die, you're like, why'd you let me be such a weird horse girl? It's like, I tried to stop you so many times.
One time in college, I saw this girl. I was way beyond the horse thing at this point. But I saw this girl running to class, and she was galloping like I used to. And I was like, oh my God, I could have been her. Like, that's just me in a different reality right now.
No, there's some Rick and Morty alternate universe where you are galloping to college
I'm still
class.
doing it. I'm still proving I'm a horse by running races. But
the documentary now. she never listened to the nose.
Yeah, there's actually before I get to the point where I had to change my whole life for a man again.
The first of many.
Yeah. I should mention, like, now there are a bunch of horse girls who have a community. They're called hobby horse girls. Do you know about these girls?
Yeah.
They're like,
my TikTok will get a little weird sometimes, and then I'll be like, all right, let's not stay here.
Yeah,
but I'm
you gotta
glad I saw
scroll
this one
past
video.
videos.
That's how I feel with the Mormon videos too.
you get a lot of Mormon videos.
Well, I think so. One of my coworkers lives in Salt Lake City, and I think our algorithms mix a little bit. But every once in a while I'll get like a Mormon TikTok, and they'll talk about how much they love drinking orange soda as their party drink. And I was like, all right, I don't want to stay here, but I appreciate
soda.
No, they're not allowed to have caffeine.
Oh, caffeine.
It's like orange soda's about as frisky as it gets.
Yeah.
And then talking to my boss or my coworker, they break that rule all the time. Yeah. Like once they hit their 20s. But anyway, sorry, go on. The hobby horse girls.
So it started in like Finland, I think.
Okay.
Like it was this originally just like a real small community of people who, they're young women mostly. Not quite people. Girls.
Couple of gay boys.
We're going backwards. Yeah. And they when I first discovered them, I was mad. I like truly was like jealous and angry about my not being able to be like in a supportive community of other girls who pretended to ride horses.
You're not glad on some level?
No, I am now, but my first reaction, I was like kind of pissed.
That's
like
awesome.
They ride around with little hobby horses, the horse head on a stick.
Yeah.
I remember being like, "Oh, you need a prop," like kind of like, like that's not even the real
Bush League.
That's not even a real imaginary horse. And the other thing though is that they have like I don't know, thousands and thousands of followers on Instagram. They have a bunch of other people who love hobby horsing.
Yeah.
They're not like made fun
How
of
many
because
of them are middle-aged men?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, some of the pictures
can't
are
be good.
very like modelly.
And
some of them are
terrifying.
getting, you know, they're getting old, and it's like,
yeah.
this is,
Yeah.
yeah. But anyway, I was like pissed. I was like, they're happy doing this. They didn't have one person say something, and like, I mean, they probably get bullied on the internet, but
Yeah.
I think they have enough of a group that it's like they can just stay and be like, this is what I love and what I do. Like I used to be when I convinced Amanda to get her own horses.
There you go. So, okay. So eventually a boy.
Oh, okay. So
Tells
this is when it
you-
all turned.
And I want to know what Amanda's reaction was to you ditching the horses too.
I had moved away from Amanda's town, so I
okay.
didn't have a horse friend.
So she's still a horse girl.
Man, I wonder what she's up to.
You should check
She's one of those hobby
check it
horse
out.
girls.
Yeah. She started it. She is a horse hobby cult in Finland.
Yeah, so I probably only had like a year with her when we were like horse
Okay.
friends together.
Yeah.
And then I moved to a different state and I continued the horse business or whatever. And maybe within a year of moving there, I was doing my recess stuff. Almost never like noticed people making fun of me. It must have been happening all the time. Didn't notice it ever until one day I hear chanting and it's like, horse girl, horse girl. And it's these two dudes and I look and one of them is this kid I had a crush on.
Oh no.
Who I probably like probably was like writing Eminem lyrics out for all the time. And
I'm picturing you like galloping around recess, and when you would pass him, you'd give a good. So he would know that you liked him.
check this out.
Oh, I'm gonna get his attention.
This is what boys like. Yeah, so like I hear him it's like doing it in the most extreme way. I run as
Dude,
fast
she
as I
only
can.
does it around me. I don't understand.
I do all the Lipizaner moves only in front of him. I'm like just dancing around him as a horse. Man, that's so funny. So he's chanting. He's with his friend. I turn and see who it is. It's him. James was his name. And I don't remember like the feeling I had immediately, but I do remember going home that night and I had to go to my brother's baseball game and I just bawled the entire time. And I was like laying on my mom's lap. I think I couldn't like speak because I was so upset.
Yeah.
And I don't know if she knew what was going on. I don't know if I told her like what happened or what. And then I went home that night and I put away all my horse figurines.
Wow.
And I like got rid of my mental horses. I got rid of my thoughts about horses.
You opened up the imaginary gate and let him go free.
Yeah. And I decided that night that I didn't have them anymore. And like I wasn't a horse
Used to be
girl.
a cartoon or something.
Yeah. Well, there's a Bob's Burger episode actually where she has an imaginary horse.
Are you Tina?
Yeah. I mean it's very similar except that I forgot what the differences were, but I remember seeing that episode and being like, no. I got mad again. I was like, this isn't how it goes. Hers was more positive than mine, I think.
Okay.
It was
All
like,
right.
she was really into it and it was kind of like a source of control or something
Okay.
for her. But then she was
Yeah.
like friends with the horse. It wasn't all just about like riding and stuff. I don't
Yeah.
really remember. I should watch that again. But yeah, so then I changed my life for this kid.
Wow.
He has no idea.
No.
We never spoke about it.
What a service he did to.
Yeah, but I do wonder, like...
Harsh way to do it, though.
I could have been one of those hobby horse girls
Yeah.
if I kept going.
You still could. What if after this podcast is 3 days from now, it's like Brittany moved to Finland?
Yeah.
Corey told her to follow her dream on this podcast, and apparently comedy wasn't it. She wants to be a hobby horse.
This was the original. I thought I was close to being myself doing comedy, and actually, that's the original. Like... Me telling, it's going to be like I start to tell my joke about the horse stuff once I write it out and do it on stage. And then that'll be the only joke I do. And then I'll realize I'm just a horse girl.
Yeah.
I am just going to go all the way back.
Full circle.
Yeah.
I love it. I mean, nobody's more themselves than a little kid.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I think that's... You definitely... I don't think adults should be as, like, shameless as children, obviously.
Nah.
It just wouldn't work on a societal level.
No.
But, like... Yeah, I think when you get to be like old, I think old people give just as little fucks as kids do.
Yeah, that's
where
true.
They're like, nah, I'm a bitch. Like, what are you going to do about it? You're gonna fucking, no, I'm going to be mad. I'm going to be mean to this person because I want to be mean. And it's like, kids are mean when they want to be.
Too, again, when you're real old.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Man.
That's why they all started collecting stamps, I guess. But maybe that was during the Depression. There weren't many hobbies.
Yeah, I think they collected stamps because they were forever stamps. So they were like, "Oh, I'm gonna need to send thousands of letters. So let me get all these stamps." Yeah. And then it's like, I don't know. I thought about collecting quarters one time just because I was like, "Oh, quarters."
The ones with
with the states.
With the states.
Yeah, because I was like,
quarters.
These will always be useful. It's like, oh yeah, they'll collect them and they'll be useful.
I'm not an idiot if I have 1 billion quarters.
Should have been collecting Bitcoin. Yeah, but
yeah.
Oh my God! Yeah. Well, we're at an hour.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well,
that was a great story. I think it's a great place to end too. Yeah. Be yourself. We're all working towards, not at work. Like there are places to be yourself.
Yeah.
Comedy.
I'm gonna
be
running around my office. Maybe I should.
You should. I think you should.
See if they accept me there.
Yeah. I mean, you've had the job for a while. You think they could fire you for being a horse girl?
You're gonna fire me for cantering through the kitchen? What?
I want to be in that room so bad.
In meetings, I'm like standing up to brush my horse. I'm picking out its hooves. Actually, that's the one part of the whole thing where I'm like, I spent a lot of time doing the brushing and picking and like all that other stuff. It's like I actually probably worked really hard for these like horses who don't exist.
You get a lot of free time as a kid.
Yeah.
God, what I wouldn't give to be a fly on the wall of your boss trying to fire you for cantering around the kitchen. God, that'd be good. All right, where can people find you? You have a podcast.
Oh yeah, it's called Worthless Clowns.
Worthless Clowns. Okay, the clip you put up of when I think it was like you submitted to a festival or something like that, God. Or like an agency.
Yes, Comedy Central.
You just to go look up the clip. You just sent in photos of your face. I'll
tell the story real briefly here.
Yeah, please go for it.
Okay, so this is one of those.
No, don't tell the story. They need to go look it up. I was legitimately dying laughing watching the reel.
But I'll tie it back to
so funny.
This is one of those times where I do still cringe at that. Like,
that was recent.
It wasn't that long ago, and
when I brought it up, you're like, oh no.
Every time I think about it, I'm like, I can't. And it was in New York and everything. It's like. Yeah, go watch that clip. It's so embarrassing. You can follow us on Instagram at Worthless Clowns. Yeah. And follow me at Brittany Cardwell. And that's it. Thanks for having me.
You got a weekly show too, right?
Yeah, I got 2 weekly shows. Ambush Comedy at Two Boots Pizza in Williamsburg and Drool Comedy at Fede Style Barbecue.
Yeah, I have not been to Ambush, but Drool is a ton of fun.
Yeah.
It's in like a barbecue place.
Yeah,
it's a free ticket.
Lots of meats, free.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You smell like barbecue when you come out, which some people... It's like when you leave a campfire. It's the same kind of thing.
Yeah, right. Follow me at Corey T Comedy on all social media. And if you're in New York, come after you check out Drool and Ambush, come to a comedy show every single week at Ferns in the East Village. Brittany's done it before a couple of times.
Yeah.
If you liked Brittany on this podcast and are coming to the show, DM me on Instagram. Tell me what show you're coming to. We'll book Brittany for that show.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Good idea.
Let's do it again soon sometime.
Yeah. All right. Bye.